everyone. I'm Tabitha, and I'm your storyteller for today. Today's chapter is from Crickle the Crocodile, who's ever so clever, and this is Chapter 1. Meet Crickle, Crickle the Crocodile, but not any old crocodile, for Crickle the Crocodile is ever so clever. Crickle first discovered just how clever she was one sunny afternoon at the bank of her river, so that is where we find her today. There she was, chomping down on her meaty breakfast, when who should come along but Henry the hippo and his hippo herd. "Morning, Crickle!" shouted Henry. "Morning!" returned Crickle in her somewhat posh sing-songy voice, as she waved her reply. Crickle liked Henry and his herd. Although hippos could make quite a noise and a splash when they wanted to, on the whole they were quite decent animals as far as Crickle was concerned. They were large, which was important in Crickle's mind, as to a crocodile, bigger is always best. In the main, when they weren't having a splash around, they were fairly motionless and quite silent, so they didn't particularly disturb Crickle or bother her during her naps. "Nice breakfast you got there," said Henry. "What's it today? Sausages? Smells lovely." "Yes, indeed," said Crickle. "I made them myself, and if I dare say so, they are most excellent." She sat back down, away from her frying pan, and tapped her tummy by way of showing her satisfaction. She wasn't, however, intending sharing any of her sausages, and she didn't offer any. After all, one pan of sausages really wasn't going to go far when it came to feeding a whole herd of hippos. "We're off further upstream then," said Henry. "Have a lovely rest of your day, won't you?" And with that he smiled and waved, and the herd made their way past. Crickle sat back, fork in one hand, blowing her breakfast to cool it. Although a solitary animal, she had many friends, and she wondered who she would see next. A few birds flitted here and there, and Crickle could hear their calls to one another, with the sound of the water as it gurgled and burbled along. "Ah," said Crickle, as she stretched, satisfied from her fill and content with her peaceful life. After breakfast, once she had washed and dried her dishes and put out her stove, she thought she'd dig herself a burrow. And so this is what she decided to do. She was busily moving mud and clearing her burrow when who should come along but the king of the jungle himself, or, in this case, the cub of the king. "All right, Crickle," he said, as he came to see what was up. "Nice burrow you've got there." "Why, thank you, Leo," said Crickle. Leo was a fairly frequent visitor, and although not yet king, he was almost fully grown, and one day he was sure to follow in his father's footsteps. "How are you, Leo?" inquired Crickle, for she could tell Leo didn't quite seem himself, and he looked a little down. He wasn't bouncing around as he usually was. "Well, I'm not feeling my best, truth be told," he said. "I've got a big royal ball coming up, and I've got a problem, and, well, I'm not sure how to fix it." "I see," said Crickle. "Perhaps I can help, if you tell me what it is, or I might be able to offer some advice. I am considerably older than you," she chuckled. This was, of course, very true, for in Crickle's case she came from a long line of crocodiles who lived at least until their late 70s. So to Leo, she was as old as a dinosaur. "Well," Leo shifted his weight between his paws and padded about. He was clearly uncomfortable about whatever it was that was troubling him. It's just as a lioness." "Oh," said Crickle, with a knowing smile. "A lioness. I guess you have a soft spot for this lioness, do you?" "I might," said Leo, trying to avoid Crickle's gaze directly. "It's just there will be lots of other lions at the ball, and I want her to notice me." "Ah, so what do you intend to do to get noticed?" inquired Crickle. I don't know, that's the problem. I want to make a good first impression, but the first thing she'll see is my mane, and mine, well, it's not very big. This was a fair observation, for although Leo definitely had the beginnings of a mane, it wasn't fully grown, and so it wasn't perhaps the full mane of glory he was hoping for. Ah, said Crickle, not wanting to agree directly, as that may have hurt his feelings, but showing she understood. Well, what can we do to make your mane more impressive? She said out loud, but as if asking herself. I need some thinking time, she said to Leo. And while I'm pondering a solution for you, do you think you could do a little something for me? Yeah, sure, said Leo, for he was keen to help Crickle if she was going to help him. He had no idea what he could do, so he needed as much help as he could get. What do you need? Well, do you see further upstream over there? There's a little calm spot of water. There, behind that fallen tree. Yeah, over there you mean, said Leo, pointing with a paw. Yes, that's the very spot. Well, in there are lots of big fish, and I was intending to catch one for my supper. Do you think you could have a go at fetching one for me while I think this through for you? Well, I might take a little while, Crickle, said Leo, but I'll certainly give it a try. Okay, thank you, said Crickle. Trying is all I ask. You'll find it easiest if you wade in a little. It's perfectly shallow and there's no current to speak of, so you'll be quite safe. Okay, got it, said Leo, and off he went to try and catch Crickle a fish for supper. Once he was out of sight, Crickle thought she'd slip into the water for a cool down on a ponder, and because truthfully it would be no doubt entertaining to watch a lion trying to catch a fish with his big, cumbersome paws. As she glided silently along, only her eyes and nostrils were visible, as despite her large size, she was around 3 meters long. The clever design of her body meant she was able to slip effortlessly and without being seen into the water. And once she was in, you could barely tell she was there at all. This is, of course, one of the reasons crocodiles are such excellent hunters. Nature has designed them in such a clever way that they can sneak up on their prey without detection. And as Crickle was gliding effortlessly along, just under the waterline, this realization gave her an idea. She swam a little nearer to the spot she had sent Leo to fetch her fish, and she could see he was nearly there. Crickle decided on her plan and slipped completely underwater and out of sight. Meanwhile, Leo was struggling to decide on the best place to stand, as he could indeed see the fish, large and shimmering under the water. This spot was sandy and warm, and Leo could see the fish enjoying the feeling of the sun and the warm water on their bodies. Not being an expert fish hunter, Leo wasn't quite sure what to make of this idea. He reasoned he'd have to try and grab one with one paw, but that meant taking careful aim. This was very different to the pouncing method he was used to catch his prey. He waded in a bit further and thought a particularly sunny spot looked his best bet, as that would likely have the most fish. Although he could see that spot was near the main river, so he reasoned he'd have to be careful not to go too far past the edge of the shallows. He waded a bit further still, and yes, he could see a variety of different fish of all shapes and sizes. This was a good fishing spot indeed, he thought to himself, and then he paused silently while he planned his attack. But then, all of a sudden, the game changed completely, and just as Leo crouched near the water to take a close look, out jumped the most enormous creature. But it wasn't just any enormous creature, it was Crickle. Eek! Screamed Leo as he retreated with haste in panic. He was so scared he tried to swim away, much to Crickle's amusement, of course. Of the two of them, she was the one roaring with laughter at poor Leo. As he hauled himself back onto dry land, Crickle managed to grab herself a lovely-looking fish for supper, and then she swam over to a bedraggled and sulky Leo, who was less than impressed by Crickle's antics and feeling most sorry for himself. "I hope you enjoyed yourself," said Leo grumpily. "That wasn't funny." "Oh, come now. Funny is all a matter of perspective," said Crickle, and from where I was it was very funny indeed. I came to you for help, Crickle, and this is what you do to me, said a still annoyed Leo. Some friend you are. Crickle paused and then replied, Actually, I call myself quite a friend indeed, and help is exactly what I have given you. What? Said Leo crossly, for he didn't understand. Take a look at yourself in the water, Crickle instructed, and Leo went to take a look. When he saw his reflection, he was overjoyed. He whooped, he roared, and he did a special happy dance on the water's edge. Oh, Crickle, thank you, thank you, thank you. Why, you are ever so clever. Thank you ever so much, my ever so clever crocodile friend. For in scaring Leo, the fright Crickle made him had made all the hairs on his mane stand on end, and now he truly had a mane to be proud of. All thanks to Crickle, the ever so clever crocodile. And that's the end of tonight's chapter. See you soon. Night night. Sleep tight.